guys, everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Transformers Power of the Primes Legends class Roadtrap and Battleslash. So these figures alone are pretty cool, of course. Roadtrap transforms, of course, from his robot to his car mode, which is pretty cool. And Battleslash transforms into a helicopter, which is pretty cool. But if you get both of them, you can actually combine them into one big combined robot, which is super cool. We'll be getting to that at the very, very end of this review, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's take a look at the collector cards, then we'll get right into this review. So, of course, here we have Battleslash, which looks pretty cool in my opinion, with his helicopter blade in battle. That looks quite nice in the Power of the Primes style collector card. And then, of course, here we have Roadtrap, which looks very nice in that nice dark blue. Lots of sparks everywhere, looking very cool. So that's pretty much it for the beginning intro. We're going to be taking a look at Roadtrap first, then getting into Battleslash. So let's get right into it. So here we have Roadtrap in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the very top with this head sculpt. Almost Soundwave-like in my opinion. It looks very cool. Nice red for the visor, some blue for the main helmet section, and some silver. That looks pretty good. Getting to the arms, of course, some nice black for the wheel there, some red, some blue, some more black for the hand. Of course, same details repeated on the other arm. For the chest, a nice Decepticon symbol on this side there with lots of white lines, some yellow, some black, and of course, mainly dark blue for the base. And getting to the legs and the crotch, really done in that nice dark blue. Getting to the feet and knees, some nice red there, some yellow and silver for the main grill section. Of course, this really does resemble the front of the car, which looks pretty cool for the feet. And overall, very, very simple in design, but overall looks pretty cool. On the back, cleans up quite nicely. And overall looks very, very cool. Unfortunately, I think this is my main problem with these two minicons, which were sold separately. By the way, you did not buy them in a pack of two. They are each about $8, maybe $5, really depending where you bought it. Unfortunately, neither of them actually came with an accessory, which I thought was kind of a missed opportunity. I wish he came with like a blaster or a sword or an axe, something like that, but he doesn't come with anything like that, which is kind of unfortunate in my opinion. But overall, very well detailed. Let's now get into articulation. So for the head, of course, a swivel ball joint at the shoulder, ball joint at the forearm, of course, same on the other arm. No waist rotation, ball joint at the top of the leg, and of course at the knee, and that's pretty much it for articulation. Unfortunately, not the best, but it is just a Legends class or minicon style figure, so articulation isn't the biggest priority. It's really just a small little toy that looks pretty cool. So now let's get into two quick comparisons. I thought I'd compare him with a modern day minicon or Legends class style figure. Here we have Core Class Iguanus from Legacy Wave 1. So actually they're pretty much roughly the same size, which is very surprising because this toy is from about 2015, 2016, and this one's from 2022. So size-wise, they have stayed pretty similar. Of course, Roadtrap here is a little bit chunkier, as you can see. He's more slender with the Iguanus there, but overall, height-wise, pretty much the same. And of course, missing an accessory, which is kind of unfortunate. And now for another comparison, here he is with Battleslash, his partner Decepticon, which of course you can again transform both into a really cool combined robot, which we'll get into at the very, very end of this review. But overall, that looks pretty cool. So that's pretty much it for comparisons, details, and articulation. Let's now get into transformation. Now for transformation, it's actually very straightforward and simple. What you're going to want to do is get the arms here, just angle these back like that. And unfortunately, this chest piece does tend to untap, but that will be needed for transformation, so I guess it's okay. Then you can go to the feet here. You can actually unravel these, bring this whole section back, do the same thing on the other leg, just bring this section back as well. Then you can tab the legs or feet together, and then what you're going to want to do is hinge this whole section forward just like this and collapse that down. Hinge this whole section forward, collapse that down, and then as you can see, of course, there's some tabs right there. This will just tab together just like that, and then we can go back here. As you can see, there is a tab and a slot, and of course there is a slot there and a tab on the inside. So this can just hinge on the inside, and of course we can just complete the side of the car here. Make sure everything is tapped into place and smooth like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Just hinge this in, tab that in, and then of course we can get this whole section here. You can rotate the head around, and this whole section will just kind of collapse into place just like that. And there we have Roadtrap and his really cool looking car mode. Let's take a look at the details. So of course, unfortunately, there is some sticking back out here. I would never really like that, but unfortunately, you really can't do much about it. You can actually kind of slightly angle it in more, but it will compromise it rolling. It will make it kind of push up a little bit, so there's really not much you can do. You know, you can angle it however you wish, but I'm just gonna really leave it like that. But of course, detail-wise, it looks pretty cool. Lots of nice dark blue, some yellow at the front, also some silver for the grille section. That looks pretty nice. Some red for the windows on the front and sides. All that detail from the chest we saw earlier is now on the top. And of course, some black for the wheels. Overall, looks very, very cool in my opinion. So cute little car, very simple transformation. Let's now move on to some quick comparisons. Now for a quick vehicle mode comparison, here we have Roadtrap and Battleslash. They're partner Decepticons. They do look very cool next to each other. Personally, my favorite is Battleslash. I really do like his helicopter mode and robot mode in my opinion. In the comment section down below, let me know between these two which one is your favorite. If they just fix this little section back there that sticks out a little bit too much, I would like this figure quite a bit more in the vehicle mode. The robot mode I think is pretty good in my opinion. I just think both these figures do suffer with a lack of an accessory. Neither of them have a blaster or a gun, which is pretty unfortunate in my opinion. I think if they remade these now, I think they would have done that a little bit differently. But two really cool looking vehicle modes. Again, in the comment section down below, which one is your favorite? Let's now move on to Battleslash. Here we have Battleslash in his robot mode. Let's take a look at the details, starting at the top with the head sculpt. That looks pretty good, with that nice silver and red for the eyes and face. That looks pretty nice. Some nice gray for the helmet section, getting to the arms here, of course. Some nice white for the forearms, some more darkish gray for the shoulder, and some nice purple detail right there. I kind of wish that was a Decepticon symbol, but it is not. Overall, that looks pretty good. Of course, same detail repeated on the other arm as well, except there is a nice helicopter blade here for a weapon. Unfortunately, it is not removable, so I really don't count it as an accessory. I kind of wish it was, because in the collector card actually it did show him holding his helicopter blade as a sword, but you cannot actually do that, which is kind of unfortunate. Getting to the chest here, some nice purple for these sections here, a nice Decepticon symbol done in black. Of course, the same gray for the base of the chest there, looking pretty cool. Getting to the crotch there, mostly done in black. For the legs, that same grayish white, and some blue for the feet. And getting to the back, we have some combiner bits kind of revealed. They actually have the combiner hands there and the chest there kind of leaked. So bit of a surprise on the back. But overall, very clean and looks pretty cool. I would say, of course, much more simple than Roadtrap. Really, it is just that same kind of grayish white all over with a little bit of purple and blue, but I think it actually looks pretty cool in my opinion. Definitely my favorite of the two in my personal opinion. Again, I would say my only complaint is no accessory, but if I were to be super picky, is I kind of wish the legs were not as chunky as they are. It kind of looks unproportioned to the arms. These look very skinny and slender, but the legs look actually very chunky and weird in my opinion, but that actually is due to the combined mode, because they actually do form the arms for the combined mode, so there is a bit of a sacrifice for this mode to have the combined mode, so I can easily pass that up, but it is just a pet peeve of mine. So now let's get into a quick comparison. Here he is with Iguanus, looking very cool. I already did compare, of course, the Roadtrap and Battleslash earlier, so if you want to see that, go back to the beginning of this review. As you can see, again, pretty much the same size, just a little bit chunkier with Battleslash here, and more slender with Legacy Iguanus. So that's pretty much it for comparisons and details. Let's now get into articulation. So ball joint at the shoulder and at the forearm. For the head, of course, a swivel. Same articulation on the other arm. No waist rotation. Ball joint at the top of the leg and, of course, at the knee as well. And that is pretty much it for articulation. It's pretty limited, but again, this is just a mini-con, so not really any waist rotation or anything crazy like that. So that's pretty much it for the robot mode. Let's now get into transformation. So now for transformation, we're going to start at the very top with the head. You're going to want to open this whole assembly right here. Unfortunately, that panel can sometimes open by mistake. You can just collapse that head in, and then what you can do is just bring these sections out just like that. And then you can see this arm will just hinge over just like this. You can do the same thing for the other arm. Just hinge that over, and there we go. Then what you can do is collapse that just like that. Make sure these are properly out of the way, because then what you're going to do is split at the crotch, and these will just hinge all the way up and over, which I thought was a pretty cool transformation. I never really had seen that before having this figure. Now what you're going to want to do is rotate at the knee and just rotate that fully around, just like that. You can then bring out these little propeller sections here, or the back of the helicopter. And then there is a tab and a slot that will just tab in together just like that. And then what you can do is bring this section up just like this. You can actually rotate this whole assembly around, and then we can start to go to the arms. So I personally sometimes do have this section open because it does give a little bit more clearance and help, of course, if you need it. You can have it closed, but it sometimes just helps. Then what you're going to want to do is hinge this around to where you can actually collapse this in just like this. So this will just fold in just like that. And then of course you can just get the other half because there is a tab there. So do the same thing on the other side. Just make sure you can fold this whole section in like that. And as you can see, of course, both halves will tab together. And of course, sometimes, which is kind of annoying, is this helicopter blade can sometimes get in the way, so I do kind of wish you could remove it for transformation. So just tab it together. There is also, of course, a slot and a tab there that will just tab in just like that. Make sure the head is flat. This will just tab in, and there we have Battleslash in his helicopter mode. I do apologize if you didn't have the best view for the arms. Sometimes they're kind of fiddly and annoying. I do apologize if it took a little bit of time, but there is the helicopter mode. I think it's actually pretty cool. Let's take a look at the details. So of course we have the helicopter blade there, which is unfortunately kind of hindered because of the arms and this chest piece here, so it doesn't freely rotate, but if you move it, you can somewhat get a little bit of a spin. But I do, again, restating what I was saying earlier, I wish this was removable for transformation because it can sometimes get a little bit annoying when you're transforming the arms because there's really not that much clearance. That is why I do, of course, have this piece open for transformation, because it does give a little bit more space for you to get in there. But detail-wise, of course, some nice blue for the cockpit, nice Decepticon symbol there as well, done in this nice pinkish purple, some red on the side for some lights. Again, more of that creamyish, grayish white, looking very cool. Some more purple on the side, some black. Helicopter blade back there, looking pretty cool. Very small, unfortunately it does not spin in that same color. I actually do like how they have blades sculpted in on both sides. There's a blade here and there, and they're actually misaligned, so it kind of looks like it's spinning. That's actually pretty cool and clever in my opinion. But overall, detail-wise, that's pretty much it. It looks very cool in my opinion. So now for a quick vehicle mode comparison, here he is with his partner Roadtrap, and of course, again, Battleslash. Looking very cool. My favorite of two is definitely this one. I think the transformation is definitely better with Roadtrap here. It's a lot more smooth. I really just wish this was able to be removed because it really does get in the way. But overall, two very cool, cute, small little vehicles that I think really work. And I do wish they maybe could redo these a little bit better. Of course, some more details, some more paint apps, and again, definitely accessories, because I'd really love if you could have an accessory for both and combine them for the combined figure, which is, again, unfortunate there is not one with these. But two very cool looking vehicle modes. Let's now get into transformation to the combined mode. So of course you do alter both of these figures. So we're going to start with Roadtrap and the modifications for him, and then we'll go back to Battleslash for the top half of the combiner. Now for transformation for Roadtrap into the legs of the combiner, it's actually very straightforward and simple. What you're going to want to do is actually split this whole assembly in half. Then you can kind of untransform the feet here just like this. So just bring these sections down like that. You can then go back here, bring up the head, and that's actually pretty much it for the legs. This will be the head of the robot mode, will be the connection between the top half and the bottom half of the combiner. You can have the head facing back or forward. It does not matter at all. I'm going to have it face back, but there are the legs. They actually look pretty cool. Of course, I will take a look at the details in full when the combiner is finished. That's pretty much it for Roadtrap. Let's now move on to Battleslash in his transformation to the top half of the combiner. Now for transformation for Battleslash into the combined mode, what you're going to want to do is start at the back here. You can just split the back part of the helicopter, bring these sections in just like this. You can then, of course, this is now disconnected just like that. You can then hinge this panel up. You're going to have to maybe get your nail there. Hinge that up. You can then split at the arms or the helicopter blade just like that. You can then bring this section down. As you can see, there is a tab and a slot on the body, so that will just tab into place just like this. Same thing on the other arm, just like this. Hinge this down, tab it in. You can rotate at the elbow, just like that. There we go. You can then hinge up the combine mode head. This will just tab into place just like this. And now for the back. Sometimes this can get kind of annoying. You're supposed to hinge this in. And then this is really up to your own personal preference. So by instructions, I think you're just really supposed to have the arms really just flat down. And I don't think it looks very good in my opinion. So there is sort of a custom way you can actually have the helicopter blade in the middle of his back. So what you're going to want to do is hinge this section down. You can then have it oriented where this tab here will just go right into that slot right there. Again, this is kind of a custom way. This isn't by the instructions really. Originally, I'm pretty sure, I haven't looked at the instructions in a while, but by reviews, you're really just supposed to have the arms really just straight down, and it doesn't look very good in my opinion because the helicopter blade is to one side. It doesn't look very good in my opinion, but this is how I usually do it. It's kind of the custom way. And that looks pretty cool because the helicopter blade is in the middle of his back, which looks pretty cool in my opinion. So there is the top half of the combined mode Battleslash there. So let me just zoom out the camera quite a bit so then we can then get Roadtrap. As you can see, you can just get his head. There is a whole section there that will just tab into place just like that, and there we have the combined mode. So there's really no official name for this. You could really call it Slash Trap or Battle Trap, something like that. You know, combine both the names. Really just, you know, do whatever you want. I'm actually very interested why they never really named it. I could be wrong about that, but due to the packaging that when I had it, there was never a name on the packaging, like, you know, get 2 figures to make this combiner. It really just said the names of the, you know, individual figures. So, you know, have some creativity. You could name it whatever you want, but there is the combiner. I think it looks pretty cool. Let's take a look at the details. We're going to start at the very top with this brand new combiner head. I thought that was so cool how they hid an entire combined head inside this figure without you barely even knowing it. So I thought that was super cool. So I do like the nice dark shade of blue there, and there's also a lighter shade for the mouth there. Some nice silver for the visor. I think that looks pretty cool. For the arms, of course, some nice creamy grayish white. Some blue for the hands. For the chest there, of course, some this is really most of the detail from the helicopter mode. We have some nice blue and white, and that Decepticon symbol right there done in pinkish purple. Some red on the sides there. That looks pretty cool. Getting to the legs and the waist is mostly done in black with some blue, and of course a lot of this detail here is repeated from the chest of Roadtrap. So we have some yellow, some white Decepticon symbol there, some black, some red, and of course this is the front section of the car mode for Roadtrap, some silver and yellow. Overall, that looks pretty cool. I always thought this combined mode was so awesome, and I actually want them to do this more often. If they did this in Legacy, or of course the other parts of this trilogy, that would be super cool if they did. This is, I think, my only Minicon combiner. I think they have made more, I just have never been able to get them, or I've just passed them up or something, but this one actually definitely really works in my opinion. It actually cleans up quite nicely. There is actually quite a bit of a transformation for the top half for Battleslash. For Roadtrap, pretty much, you really just have him split in half from his robot mode. There really isn't much change. Really just the arms are folded back, and that's pretty much it. But yeah, overall, very creative, looks super cool. And again, really I really wish there was an accessory for this combiner. I wish you could like take off his helicopter blade, have him hold it as like a sword, or if he at least had like a blaster. I could be wrong, maybe I lost it, but I'm pretty sure by my memories, if my memory serves me correctly, there was no accessory with either of these figures, which I thought was a major opportunity lost in my opinion. But overall, very cool combiner. Let's now get into articulation. So swivel at the head, of course ball joint at the arm here, and of course another ball joint at the elbow. No hand articulation. There is waist rotation, which is pretty nice in my opinion. Of course, ball joint at the leg there, so it can kick forward and back, out, and there is somewhat of a waist ankle pivot there. It's really just kind of a hinge back and forth, a small little pivots, but overall pretty cool articulation. Of course, this was before the War for Superman trilogy, so ankle pivots were not, I would say, the most common thing, but he does have a waist swivel, which is pretty cool, and pretty good arm articulation, and overall, this looks very, very cool, in my opinion. So for a quick comparison, just to show you how big the combiner is, here is Iguanas, so he pretty much has doubled in size. You pretty much stacked them on top of each other, so that looks pretty cool, in my opinion. I think definitely Iguanas could take him. He has a blaster, and they don't. But overall, that looks super, super cool in my opinion. So that's pretty much it for the combine mode. Let's now get into the final thoughts. So now for the final thoughts for Battleslash and Roadtrap. Starting with Roadtrap, of course, the bottom half of the combine mode. For the combine mode, of course, I really don't have much complaints for either halves. They both look really cool. I really do like how both halves are like completely different color schemes, and they look pretty cool next to each other. So for Roadtrap's alt mode, I think it overall looks pretty cool. My main complaint is there's a little bit of kibble from the robot mode sticking out at the back. I really wish they could close that more, and you can slightly hinge it and angle it to your own liking, but it really doesn't do much. If you collapse it too much, it does hinder the vehicle rolling, so that is kind of unfortunate. There's really not much you can do about it. Transformation is pretty straightforward and simple. You really just kind of fold everything up, and it's pretty easy to do. You really don't need the instructions at all. For remote, I think overall articulation is pretty standard for a mini con. Of course, no waist swivel. Some are ball joints pretty much at every typical area: the shoulders, the elbows, and of course the knees. But overall, looks pretty cool. Love the details. I do like the nice dark blue color scheme. I really do like how the front of the car is actually the feet of the robot mode. That looks pretty cool. Definitely something missing is an accessory. I think that's for both parts of this combiner. No accessory, which is pretty unfortunate, but I think they do look very cool. So now getting to Battleslash, definitely my favorite of the two. For the top half, I really do like how it easily conceals a whole different head inside the figure where you barely even can see it or know about it. I think that was super, super cool. When I first got this, my reaction, I remember I was wondering, how is that going to work? How is there going to be a completely different combined head in there? Or I was actually thinking, are they just going to reuse Battleslash's normal head for the combiner? I thought that would be pretty lame. But, you know, of course, it turns out there is a brand new sculpted, completely hidden head, which looks pretty cool. I do like how you can store the blade on the back. That's super cool. That's really just a custom way. I'm pretty sure by the instructions it doesn't look as good. I can't remember how exactly it was, because when I first got it, I didn't like it, and I looked up this custom way how to do it, and I thought this looked a lot better, how it's in the middle of the back. I thought that looked super, super cool. Again, unfortunately, no accessory for either, and I thought that was the biggest blow, because it would be really cool if both came with an accessory and you could combine it so the combiner figure could hold it, but you really can't do that. For transformation from the, of course, top half into the helicopter mode or robot mode, it's actually very, very complex. I'm saying that because for the bottom half road trap, it's actually very, very simple from getting robot to the pants or the legs, or from car to the legs. It's very straightforward and simple. You really just kind of have them like the robot, but just split them in half and have the arms folded back. It's very simple, but there's actually quite a few steps. I would say it's about 10 or 12 steps getting into the top half of the combine mode. I thought that was pretty cool. Helicopter mode, it looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, the helicopter blade is slightly hindered. You really can't spin it super fast because there's a little bit of stuff blocking it, but overall, detail-wise, looks super cool. Very small, but I think it looks pretty nice. I do like how the back helicopter blades, they sculpted in one on both sides of the helicopter, which is super cool, and actually kind of looks like it's spinning even though it can't. Transformation from the helicopter mode to the robot mode, pretty straightforward and simple. I just think the robot mode arms can get kind of annoying to fold up and transform, because unfortunately you cannot remove the helicopter blade. It does sometimes get in the way and get caught on things, so that would be my only complaint there. For robot mode, definitely looks super cool. Love the simple kind of gray-white color scheme. It looks pretty cool with the beating red eyes of the robot mode and the silver for the face. It really makes it pop and more noticeable. I do wish you could remove the blade so we could hold it, because that actually shows in the collector card that I showed in the beginning. Battleslash is holding his helicopter blade as like a sword or a spear, but you can't actually do that. So it does seem kind of silly how they kind of advertise it in the card, and you know, I would want to do that, but you can't actually do it. But that's kind of unfortunate. But overall, two really really cool looking Legend style minicons. I think they're about $10 each. Of course, that was like 4 or 5 years ago, so not really sure what they go for on eBay right now. I would assume if you want it brand new, I would assume probably they're about $20 each. I'm not sure. People might just want to get rid of them as fast as possible, or it could be one of those that's actually pretty rare, because I've seen some very rare Power of the Primes things going for hundreds of dollars, surprisingly. So I really suggest, if you see this, in some antique stores, some old toy stores, or just as someone has it on hand, is offering you it for cheap, I would definitely suggest to buy them, because they're actually pretty cool looking minicons, and they haven't done a combiner minicon pair in a long time. I think this is the last one they made, of course. That could be completely wrong, but from my memory, I think that's accurate too. Really cool looking minicons that I think really work. Overall, just I wish there was an accessory. Let me know what you think of this combiner minicon, and of course there is no assigned name for this combiner. You really could just get both halves of each, both characters' names, and just kind of stick them together if you wanted to, or make up a completely different one if you wanted to. But two pretty cool minicons. Of course, this is a throwback review. This was from Power of the Primes line, and I will actually be doing a lot more Power of the Primes reviews coming soon, and Titans Return, because they're pretty cool figures, and it's actually kind of nice not looking at them for a while and then taking them out and just kind of remembering how much you really like just some small little minicons like these. So I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.